those of any other aspiring pugilist. From being born into a boxing family to training, which began at the age of 7. From one of 7 children who broke the family mold. The parent seeking to blaze a trail for the children to follow. To a child dedicating a life in the ring to a proud father. Tonight, a new chapter is written in the sweet science, and the confines of the squared circle will never be the same again. Nothing to be said about a child worshiping a parent, wanting to grow up and be just like them. That's something best suits Delia Gonzalez. Almost from the first moment she could remember, Gonzalez wanted to be a boxer, just like her father. Father Antonio started training his sons for a life in the ring, but it soon became apparent that his daughter's hunger for the sport would not be denied. Just 24 years of age and studying for a degree in the science of biochemistry, Gonzalez splits her time now studying a different science, the sweet science. The eyes of hometown El Paso, Texas are on Delia Gonzalez, and she has no doubts she will do them proud. She has been called by many, very simply, the best in the world. But there are those who would use other words just as impressive. Trailblazer, or maybe even pioneer. Whatever term is used, Bonnie Canino wears it exceptionally well. This former world kickboxing champion is, in a way, like so many other sporting greats. She knew at a very early age exactly what she was destined for. And she knew after she watched some of the best of all time. I come from a Latin family, and it started back when Muhammad Ali fights and Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler, some of the great fighters, and we always sat down and watched them on TV. And again, fighting against my older brother, he gave me my first black eye when I was 4 years old with some boxing gloves, and this is something that I always wanted to do, and I always dreamed about since day one. Use another word also when describing Bonnie Canino: intensity. Well, I always have this competitive desire, edge in myself. I've always competed against my older brother. I always wanted to show him that I was more than just a little sister.
It's something that it has to be inside of you. It has to be a desire. It has to be a strength that just, I don't think it's really learned. When I first met Bonnie, she was just, she had this drive that was just unbelievable. Her goals are simple, really: to be the perfect role model for the next generation of female fighters, and to win any time she is given a chance at a world title. I've been doing it for 11 years, and I felt that I had to fight some really tough girls to prove that I'm one of the best women fighters in the world. The importance of this event tonight is not lost on the Canino team. There will never be a better chance to show America and to show the world how truly great these fighters are and how truly great they can be. I think that this is the first time that there has been such a complete show of total, competition in a female arena, where it's not just one match between two girls that just want to fight. I think this is going to really show that, hey, there's a lot of girls out there in the world that want to do the same thing. They're tired of perhaps abuse, and they want to show that, hey, we're not going to take it no more. Thursday night is really important because I feel that, women are breaking through barriers in a lot of sports, and I feel that this is our barrier that we're breaking through on Thursday night, and it's going to give us opportunity to show that they're all over this world wanted to get involved, and it's just breaking the ice for other ladies to began at the tender age of 7 for Marianne Almagar, watching as her two brothers entered the ring to begin chasing their boxing dream, one which would very soon become her own, despite the objections of her siblings.
They tried to run me out of the gym. They got me in a few times and got a few beatings, almost a broken nose, but it didn't work, so I just kept going, kept fighting, and had a few amateur fights with, of course they weren't sanctioned, but with guys and stuff. So all my life I've fought guys. They'd beat me up, and I'd go into the ring and cry, and they'd pull me out and tell me that if I wanted to fight, that I was going to have to take it. So after about 4 or 5 beatings, they realized I wasn't going anywhere. Having her two brothers, training there with me as amateur kids, I said, well, let's just
found her out of the gym, because the brothers didn't like her there. I says, and I'll guarantee you 2 or 3 hoops, and she won't take 2 or 3 of them. And I did, you know. First time she took the beating, she went under the ring, started crying. I said, I thought she was gone. That's the boy, where's Marianne? She says, under the ring, crying. So I pulled her from the leg. I said, you want to be a boxer? She said, sure. I said, well, stop crying, let's take another beating. She took another one the same day, two beatings in one day. Up to date, she hasn't left the ring yet. Okay, give me some good hooks, okay?
While her brothers trained for Golden Gloves competition, Marianne could only watch because girls couldn't compete. So she took her desire to kickboxing at the age of 23. And now, just 3 years later, she takes this burning desire into the boxing ring.
I mean, it was just in my heart. I loved it. You know, I love the sport itself, you know. So really, I used to tell my mom, you know, I'm hoping to fight professional someday, not knowing that there was women's boxing. You know, I just thought, well, I'm the only fighter out there. Like, I'm sure a lot of other girls fit, you know, before the professional came in, they probably felt that way. You know, it wasn't until not too long ago that I found out there's women fighters
Case of
all
one
over the world.
young legal assistant from Germany. There perhaps could be no better way to introduce her than to say, youth will be served. Only 18 years of age, Regina Halmich already has the reputation of a seasoned veteran in the ring. At 15 years of age, she captured the imagination of an entire nation, winning the German kickboxing championship. And in 1993, the legend continued to grow with a European championship.
When they see the fights from some women and when they see my fights, they say, oh, a woman, he can box. And that was very important for the girls and for the women, that the men and women can see girls can fight. We show that women fighting, professional boxing is not a show, it's really sport. The spirit is all in boxing. Spirit is very important for the girl who fights. And I'm not aggressive. I must look that I have technique, condition, and a little of aggressive, but not so much. And I think these 3 things do a good fight.
Trainer Jürgen Lutz has been in the forefront of the German women's boxing scene for several years now. And he sees in Halmich the perfect, charismatic fighter to popularize the sport around the world.
In my next event, I have a hall. They're filling 10,000 people, go inside there. Regina will be the main fight. And if she wins here, the world title, I'm sure she fills up this hall. And we fight in America like we fight in Germany. We go
Our next 2 fighters forge the most interesting pair of stories you may ever hear. Deirdre Gogarty was born of a proper Irish family. Father, a renowned oral surgeon, mother, a dentist, 6 brothers and sisters who ranged from a theater director to a gentleman farmer, which is why Gogarty lightheartedly calls herself the black sheep of the family.
For me to box is very strange in my family. I have no boxing background in my family whatsoever, so I don't know where I got it from. I guess they thought it was a kind of passing phase of a teenager, and they were wrong. And it's a phase that's going to last for as long as I can do it.
To Gogarty, there was always a fascination with the sport of boxing. So much so that she picked up the gloves and won her first match back in 1991. On her way to 10 knockouts in 14 fights.
I was afraid what people would think, so I used to hang a punch bag in the closet and go in there and hit it, because I didn't want anybody to know about it. But seeing is believing. Anybody that has seen the women box get really excited about it, and I believe this will really take off. And once the public get interested, there'll be no stopping the media then.
Tonight will indeed be special for Gogarty, as the black sheep of the family welcomes much of her family to ringside.
It's going to be really strange. It's the first time any member of my family has actually attended one of my fights. I'm kind of glad it's not my parents. I think they'd make me I'd worry that they'd be worried. So it'll be strange, but I think I find the support very helpful.
Almagar's opponent, Deirdre Nelson, also began her career as a kickboxer and is also just 26 years of age. But she does have something of an advantage. The holder of 4 European kickboxing titles, who fears nothing.
Nothing intimidates me whatsoever. Just go into that ring and just see my opponent, just switch off, just get on with the business, really.
How do you get so focused like that?
Well, in this sport, it takes you to be focused. You're basically in the kickboxing or boxing, you're in the physical game of chess. If you're not focused, then that's how you lose. It's not much point doing all the mental preparation if you're not mentally prepared. So if you do both, then you're unbeatable, basically.
You would be wise not to let that soft-spoken nature fool you, because it certainly doesn't fool trainer Steve Connors, who also happens to be Nelson's fiancé. Who better to provide the real insight into what drives the woman hoping to be the first Irish female to hold a world boxing and a world kickboxing championship?
Sometimes it's a pleasure, sometimes it's a pain in the butt. So it is, to be honest. Sometimes because we're so close together, being in a relationship, she basically sort of doesn't really do what she's told, but 9 times out of 10 she does. Yeah, well, let's just say if she says get the dishes done, I get them done.
The emotions will be in overdrive tonight for Nelson, dedicating this fight to the memory of her father, who passed away last year.
He'll be there rooting for me anyway, so he will. In my corner, basically. As well as my mother back home. Mum's very supportive, and I have a lot of support from friends and the rest of the family circle, which helps. So it does help spur you on.
Her opponent tonight did not begin life by eating and sleeping boxing. Feeney Klee grew up in the Netherlands, interested in the martial arts, mastering the black belt arts, and then turning to kickboxing. Good choice. For Klee captured the European and the World Kickboxing Championships in the early 90s, never having lost a match. When not tearing up the ring, Klee lends her skills to children, teaching them the physical arts which now dominate her life. After this evening, Feeney Klee hopes a world boxing title becomes a part of that life in the ring. This evening, a lawyer and a poet from Mexico City, also a swimming coach and an amateur boxing referee. Perhaps you get the feeling then that Laura Serrano has always had a passion for this sport.
More than anything, it's the love and passion that you put into whatever you do. And I believe it's all relative. It's all connected. This is a point for women's boxing to reach a worldwide level. I think that this is a great base for women's boxing to be developed.
An entire nation climbs into the ring tonight with Serrano, the first Mexican woman boxer to take part in an international event such as this evening's card, and perhaps a chance for her to start living up to the accomplishments of her boxing idol, a champion in his own right, Julio Cesar Chavez.
It's a little unrealistic, but it would be a tremendous honor. I see it difficult, but not impossible, because Laura Serrano is working as hard as possible to be the talk of women's boxing.
Yvonne Trevino didn't get started until the age of 24, but what a start it was. Moving from kickboxing to the squared circle with lightning speed, the former kickboxing champion always knew she fostered within her the heart of a boxer.
I had an older cousin that was an amateur boxer, and he bought a pair of gloves for his younger brother, which was the same age I was at the time. And my uncle got a kick out of putting us together and seeing us box. And at the time, I guess, it was fun to me, and it was just natural to punch straight forward. I didn't have any of the form and technique to it, but it was fun, and I seemed to beat him every time. But in my opinion, I still think I can improve, no matter what. It depends on what kind of fighter you're going to come against. There's always, in my opinion, there's always someone better than you or training harder than you. So if you really have the heart for it and you want to improve, get in the ring, the boxing gym, and start working out, because in my opinion, if I'm not working out, somebody else is beating me to it.
As someone who has given her heart and soul to women's professional boxing, Trevino is fully aware of how important tonight's card is to the sport, and how the gathered fighters have a real chance to prove that this is no passing fancy.
This whole event itself is opening a lot of doors for a younger generation. And if my daughter chooses to compete in boxing or any other athletic sport, I hope this is an encouragement for her. And whatever she decides to get into, I'd love to back her up 100% and encourage her to join whatever she wants to join.